If you clicked on this video, you're at least somewhat interested in trying one of Skyrim's most impressive modding projects to date, right? Although I will avoid any spoilers in this video, I'm not going to be talking about the world, factions, story, or mechanics. I already have a video for that. The goal of this video is to assist new players getting started with this overhaul, and maybe persuade a few of you on the fence to give it a try. Enderal's difficulty is much higher than Skyrim's, and is the #1 reason people drop it. However, if you understand the mechanical basics, you can get lost in this world. Trust me when I say this, it's like playing Skyrim again for the very first time. In fact, I would go as far to say as Enderal is superior to Skyrim itself. So, what is Enderal? Enderal is a total conversion mod list for Skyrim, transforming the game into an entirely different one. We are no longer in Tamriel. We're not even in Nirn. The developers for Enderal simply use the engine of Skyrim to make a brand new game. The combat's been overhauled, the magic has changed, the skills and classes are completely different. It's a whole new learning curve, and my goal with this video is to guide you through it. Quick disclaimer, I am not an expert on Enderal. I'm still learning new things every time I play. I've played through this game twice, once before I started my YouTube channel, and another recently on stream. The reason I'm making this video is because I don't think there's enough new content being created for this game, because that's what Enderal is, a full 60-hour game. So if you have any tips or advice that I missed in this video, please feel free to leave them in the comments. With that out of the way, let's start with how to install it. Enderal costs $0. Yeah, it's 100% free. All you need to have is Skyrim on either Steam or GOG. Navigate to the Enderal store page and download. This overhaul comes in its own pre-made, verified, and stable mod pack. Better textures, Sky UI, the essentials are all here. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be good with modding. It's just as easy as playing a regular game. It's compatible on Steam Deck and also has controller support if you don't like mouse and keyboard. If, for some reason, you're a member of the Thieves Guild and acquired Skyrim in an alternate method, you can also mod it manually. If you want to do that, make sure you navigate to Enderal's Nexus page, not Skyrim's. I'll leave all the links you'll need in the description. The next tip I can give you is to download the correct version. Enderal has 2 editions, Forgotten Stories and Forgotten Stories Special Edition. As you can probably assume, the Special Edition requires you to own Skyrim's Special or Anniversary Edition. If you don't have those and just have base game Skyrim, you can play the standard version of Enderal. As long as the version you download has the words Forgotten Stories in it, you're playing on the most up-to-date edition with all DLC included. Yes, this game has additional content and stories, hence the name Forgotten Stories. There is a version you can download manually without this added content. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you can. Okay, let's assume you've downloaded the game at this point and you have it up and running. For the purposes of clarity, I am using the Steam Forgotten Stories Special Edition for this video. No extra mods, no extra adjustments. If you play this game out of box, it will look exactly like mine. I'm also going to assume you've completed the tutorial and have access to the open world, which happens after your conversation with Jaspar. Let's first talk about the perk points. Instead of the standard Skyrim menu, in Enderal you're transported to the memory plane. Essentially, you're unlocking memories of previous versions of yourself. Again, no spoilers. This dimension is pretty easy to understand though. You get memory points on a level up and you slot them into trees to unlock the perks. Pretty simple. My first piece of advice for this mechanic is, unlike Skyrim, there's no respec. You need to be careful where you invest your points. If you're just starting out and are unsure on what to spend them on, I'd recommend the first skill of the green and blue tree. Each of these boost stamina and mana regeneration respectively and are just overall useful to have for any build. Any regeneration bonus you can earn is essential, as stamina and mana are drastically slower to regen, and health, well, that doesn't regenerate at all. You can't pass time to heal like in previous Elder Scrolls titles. Like, that keybind literally doesn't exist. If you want to heal or pass time, you're going to need to find a bed. There are other ways to restore your resources, but we'll talk about that a bit later. It's completely normal if you find the world extremely challenging, especially starting out. Enderal's world isn't scaled. It's divided into leveled zones. I'll leave a link to this map down below if you're curious. You start out in this green-blue zone on the left, the Sun Coast. The enemies here range from levels 1 to 10, so at level 1, you're going to find everything difficult, but the benefit of this system is that you can truly feel yourself getting more powerful. When you're level 10, you can feel it. You're definitely stronger, but it's the first couple levels of each new zone that you'll find the most challenging. Before I move on to my first tip on how to handle this difficulty increase, please pay attention to these stars. You're told about them in the main story, and they're a great guide to see if you're powerful enough to do the content. From what I understand, each star roughly represents 10 levels. In the starting zone, you're pretty much only going to see 1-star missions, meaning you need to be somewhere between level 1 and level 10 to do it. 2-star would be level 11 to 20, and so on. I tried to do a 4-star mission at level 15, and this is what that looked like. It literally took me over 30 minutes to kill a single enemy. I missed. Yeah, we did it! Woohoo! Side note, if you'd like to watch my live playthrough of Enderal, I'll have a playlist link in the description. Anyway, if you've just started out and are struggling with the combat and find the world too difficult, I'd recommend the Phasmalism skill tree. This is the necromancy tree added with the Forgotten Stories DLC. Enderal has a companion system, but it's a little different than Skyrim's. Jaspar, who we met right at the start, is a companion you can get later, but he only helps during main story content. If you need help with the open world, Phasmalism is the way to go. It's like a do-it-yourself companion system. Fortunately, it's compatible with any playstyle. It doesn't require mana or stamina, it's its own thing. If you're new, I'd highly recommend putting a few points into this skill tree to ease your travels. To start, you'll need to locate spirits around the world, capture their souls, and reanimate them in a Phasmalist workstation. To locate these spirits, you can use online resources or listen for this sound. The first one most of you will grab is right here. You can grab it during the tutorial, or you can walk back there after your conversation with Jaspar. To grab the soul, you need the first perk point in the memory tree. Once you have the second perk point, you can forge that spirit into a talisman. There are 5 ranks of spirits that can be collected throughout this game, but at the moment, you can only summon tier 1. An important thing to note is Phasmalism, Entropy, and Psionics are considered illegal in the lore, so try not to use those spells in town. Unfortunately, this makes crafting your companions a little tricky, as Phasmalist workbenches are illegal and only found in seedy areas. The earliest table you can access is during the first mission of the main story in Yero's basement. You literally have to go there anyway, but as an added bonus, this basement has every single crafting supply needed to make a tier 1 talisman. Finally, the third and last skill point you need in this tree will actually allow you to summon the spirit. You can fully customize these guys with better armor, weapons, or change their behavior to tank, heal, or do straight up damage. It truly is a do-it-yourself companion system with crazy customization options. Final point worth mentioning, with Phasmalism you can have up to 3 allies at a time. A regular entropy summon like a wolf, which can be found in this tiny dungeon right after the tutorial, a spirit of your choice through the Phasmalist skill tree, and finally, a main story companion. If you have all 3 of these active, the world will be exponentially easier. In my opinion, too easy, but I'll let you be the judge of that. I'm trying to give these tips in order of the zones you explore, so for now we're still focused on the starting zone, Sun Coast. 2 major mechanics you need to understand right away is the healing and fast travel. Let's start with fast travel, because that's a bit easier to explain. Compared to Skyrim or Oblivion, there's barely any. You can't fast travel with the map. Clicking on locations literally doesn't do anything. Enderal's fast travel system is significantly closer to Morrowind. It has big beasts that can travel to specific locations for a chunk of gold, mark and recall spells, but it also added teleport scrolls. These are one-time use spell scrolls that teleport you to major cities, very useful while in a dungeon or lost in the wild. Your access to these fast-traveling resources are limited in the starting zone, however. No merchant sells mark and return, the beast taxi system doesn't work yet, and you can't buy teleport scrolls. All of this unlocks once you hit the next zone, but we'll talk about that later. What I do want to touch on before we leave the Sun Coast is offer my advice on how to heal, especially early. While exploring the tutorial, you should find Boon, which is a healing spell. You'll notice if you use it, you generate Arcane Fever. As this fever gets worse, you begin to debuff yourself. At 40% and onward, you will notice your character is significantly weaker to damage and has lowered stat points. At 100%, you just straight up die. At least, there's a Steam achievement for that. There's a lore explanation for this fever, but essentially it's a sanity meter that worsens from specific spells and potions. Generally, healing spells and summoning spells will increase this fever. Healing potions or werewolf potions will also increase it. However, there are lots of ways to lower it. Best method is Ambrosia, which can be found in the open world, but also crafted with alchemy, which can get giga overpowered. Arcane Fever is generally only tied to powerful effects. Most spells don't generate it. For example, one of the best spells in the game at the start is Life Absorption. You can find this lying around or pick it up from a few gold from this lady in Riverwood. This deals damage and restores HP for a low mana cost with 0 Arcane Fever. My first character was a heavy armor paladin that uses holy magic, and this was a godsend early. If you're still having trouble balancing your Arcane Fever, you can also pick up the Arcane Interference perk in the Thaumaturge tree. Once a day, you get to lower your Arcane Fever by 15% for free, which is great in a pinch. Anyway, let's say we want to keep our fever as low as possible. What are other ways to heal? The simple answer is food. However, in Enderal, food only heals you out of combat. If you eat 50 pumpkins mid-fight, it's not going to do anything. Potions in Enderal also operate differently. They don't heal you instantly, rather a slower regeneration effect over time. They do have the added bonus of actually working in combat, but to balance that, they generate Arcane Fever. The health ones, anyway. Stamina and mana potions don't have a downside. Health is a very vital resource in this game, and the best way to heal is to sleep. If you ever see the camp symbol on your compass, those will almost always have a bed for you to rest at, assuming you clear out all the enemies first. While killing these enemies, you may notice in Enderal you just get flat XP. You get experience just by killing stuff, exploring stuff, or questing, but the XP is gathered in a single meter, which later translates to a level up. Gone is the traditional Elder Scrolls leveling system, where if you use a two-handed weapon, you'll get progression for two-hand. Now it's all merged together. When you level up, you get a memory point, which we've already gone over. That's the perk tree stuff. You also get 5 learning points and 4 crafting points. If you press H on PC, you can view your character sheet and see your balance. Learning points are generally used on combat skills, while crafting points are used on everything else. In my opinion, it's a little confusing. They use 2 different names to describe the same thing. They probably should have just gone for combat skills and books and crafting skills and books, but whatever. Let's say we want to level Elementalism, which is the closest to destruction magic from the Elder Scrolls games. In order to progress in that skill tree, you need to obtain the learning books to then spend your learning points. These books range in tier as well, so Apprentice books are from level 1 to 25, Adept is from 26 to 50, and so on. Leveling in Enderal is expensive. You need a lot of money. You can, of course, steal or find these books in the open world, but if you're lazy and want to buy specific ones for your specific build, it's gonna cost you. For that reason, I highly recommend leveling Rhetorics as much as you can with crafting points. Crafting books are much cheaper than skill books, so it's easier to level early. This skill will improve your buying and selling prices with merchants, but it'll also give you more dialogue options to squeeze NPCs for more money after quests. You can find some merchants who sell rhetoric books in Riverville, the main city in Suncoast, but you'll find loads of merchants who sell them in the next city, Arc. Before we leave the Suncoast though, we should definitely try to grind up to level 6 or 7 minimum. The main quest takes you through the mountains to the next zone, and it throws a bunch of higher level enemies at you to make sure you're strong enough to go through. So, before we jump the gun, let me share a few great ways to earn some extra cash and get some more XP. Your best friend in every major town is the bounty board. These missions are assassinations that reward the player with a large sum of gold, XP, and chances at good loot during the mission. There are a set number of bounties, and each gets progressively harder, but for the board in Riverville, the final bounty is only around level 8, so you should be able to do it at level 5 or 6. The Bad Vibrations questline is a great one to pick up from this old lady in the town square. She asks you to find a beauty potion, and when you do, I recommend stealing it and drinking it for yourself. The bonus to Rhetorics and max HP is just too good, but there is an alternate ending if you do choose to return it. Memory books are also one of the most valuable things a player can find in the world. There's one right here in the starting zone. These give you a full memory point to spend on a new perk. It's almost like a free level up. These are very rare to find, but sometimes NPCs will give you them as a quest reward. If you're feeling up for the challenge and you feel like you might be strong enough to leave the Sun Coast, Castle Goldenford is a great litmus test. This is the highest level dungeon in the starting area and has the next level of enemies. However, this means the enemies will also drop the next tier of loot. I think level 1 to 8 is iron, but some of these guys will drop steel, which is the next best material and can give you a pretty big boost to your overall power level. That goes for anywhere else in the world, by the way. If you want to go to the endgame zone Thalgard at level 5 and cheese a kill on a level 45 enemy, they will drop level 45 gear and you will be exponentially more powerful. There's a great balance of risk and reward with Enderal, and I love that. The last thing you may notice on your travels are the armor sets and unique gear. Castle Goldenford, for example, has a couple pieces of both. Oak Flesh is an example of a unique shield with a special 3D model and name. Armor sets, on the other hand, are a new gear system. As you equip more pieces, you get more bonuses. Generally, these sets are divided up by zone and get more powerful as the game goes on. In the Sun Coast, I think there's 3. Ratcatcher, which is a heavy set, Swashbuckler, which is a light melee set, and Mysterious Nomad, which is a light mage set. These armor sets can all be collected differently. I'll leave a link to this resource in the description. Some are found in the world, others can be bought from merchants, and some of the most powerful sets you have to craft. Quick word of advice, don't put set armor pieces on your Phasmalist companion. The bonuses don't work. Unique items like Oak Flesh are fine, enchanted items are also fine, but don't do set items. If you're having a hard time keeping all these items on your person, be sure to use the secure chest. These are found in all major towns and cities and act like an ender chest in Minecraft. Whatever you put in there can be accessed from any other secure chest in the world, your own personal global storage. Okay, those are all my tips for the first zone. Let's touch on the next area, the Heartlands in the capital city, Ark. Ark is a massive city. So large, there's a dozen fast travel points just to get around inside. Once you get to Ark, the Myrad Towers are unlocked. These are Enderal's Silt Strider systems that allow the player to travel from city to city for some gold. The first thing you want to do when you get to Ark is donate some gold to the homeless. If you donate over 100 gold, you get the Blessing of Generosity, 15 max health, 10 carrying capacity, and a massive 5 bonus to Rhetorics. It's a fantastic investment. Speaking of investment, you'll also want to check out the bank in Ark's marketplace. Enderal has a fully functional banking system with interest, shares of companies, and salaries from employers. It'll cost you 100 gold to open, but as you quest through the game, you're given shares and paychecks to cash that can only be done through this bank. You also get a tidy 2.8% interest a day, up to a maximum of 250 gold. That means if you deposit roughly 9,000 gold and just spam sleep, you'll be making 250 a day just off interest, and that doesn't even count the extra money from companies you're invested in. Another tip I have is to pick up Mark and Return from the mage vendor here. This will save you hours of time due to the lack of fast travel. You can also grab some of these teleport scrolls here if you can't be bothered to take a Myrad to another town. Enderal has a small variety of player mounts, but you can grab a unique one for free right outside the main gate. Talk to this lady here and she'll give you a short quest, and as a reward, you'll get a free donkey. Unlike Skyrim, mounts are bound to flutes, so I suggest favoriting this item so you can use it on the go. Within Ark's marketplace, you'll find all the necessary workstations for crafting free at your disposal. Besides rhetoric, I'd say handicraft is the next most important skill to improve. The best in slot endgame armor and weapons are generally crafted, not to mention you'll need it to improve gear too. Now, you can avoid this skill depending on your build, especially if you don't like the crafted items. There's only 3 crafted armor sets, and 2 of them are heavy armor. The other one is a light, sneaky merchant set, but it's a little more niche. I strongly believe sleight of hand and lockpicking are the worst crafting skills by far. Lockpicking is pretty much irrelevant because you can get or buy scrolls to open locks, similar to Morrowind. Sleight of hand late game is okay because you can find super crazy stashes and chests, but more often than not, it's too late in the game to make any difference. Like all cities, Ark also has a bounty board, but it also has an arena in the Undercity. Be warned, this arena is significantly harder than Oblivion's, but it does lead to the Relata faction, which is one of the best faction questlines I've done in any Elder Scrolls game ever. There's also the Golden Sickle, which is another guild you can join. Their story isn't as good, but they do make a lot of money. Keep in mind, while doing faction quests, your decisions really matter. Each questline usually has 3 or more different endings, and several Steam achievements to collect based off your choices. Enderal's main story has 4 different endings. Side quests and faction choices play a part in what you're allowed to do, so be sure to save often in case you get a story arc you don't like. The final tip is for you to take your time. You can't rush the main story. Not because I'm saying you shouldn't, because you literally can't. You need to progress in level to even have a chance at completing that content. Enderal wants you to get distracted. It wants you to get sidetracked and explore. It's literally built for that. The stories told throughout this game are amazing. They can be scary, they can be sad. It's one of the best RPGs I've ever played in my life. And if you decide to give it a shot because of this video, please comment down below and let me know how it went. I have a bunch of Enderal enjoyers in my community, so if you ever want to join my Discord and ask questions, there's a lot of people who can help. The links for that are in the description. Huge thank you to my members who make these videos possible. If you want early access to my videos, exclusive polls to decide what I play next, consider joining the channel. However, that's all from me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something new. Make sure to check out the videos on your screen right now. YouTube thinks you'll like them. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one.